Good afternoon, everybody. I just sort of spontaneously decided to share some of this book that I've had for a couple of years probably and just not read. And it sort of runs alongside the groups that I've started to do, the Awakening Wild Women groups and the Sacred Sisters groups and Sacred Sisters Circle. It's very much in line with that, and so I just was reading it and just picked it up again after all these years. I think last time I probably read well, actually I can't really remember how much I read, but it wasn't very much, and I certainly didn't finish it. And it's called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and so I want to read some things from this, and I'm just going to start reading, and we'll see who joins, and just make yourselves comfortable wherever you are. Make sure you're warm enough and cozy enough, and snuggle up and listen. So, like a trail through a forest, which becomes more and more faint and finally seems to diminish to a nothing, traditional psychological theory too soon runs out of the creative, the gift, the deep woman. Traditional psychology is often spare or entirely silent about deeper issues important to women. The archetypal, the intuitive, the sexual and the cyclical, the ages of women, a woman's way, a woman's knowing, her creative fire. This is what has driven my work on the wild woman archetype over 2 decades. A woman's issues of soul cannot be treated by carving her into a more acceptable form as defined by an unconscious culture, nor can she be bent into a more intellectually acceptable shape by those who claim to be the sole bearers of consciousness. No, that is what has already caused millions of women who began as strong and natural powers to become outsiders in their own culture. Instead, the goal must be the retrieval of women's votarous and natural psychic forms. Fairy tales, myths and stories provide understandings which sharpen our sight so that we can pick out and pick up the path left by the wildish nature. The instruction found in story reassures us that the path has not run out, but still leads women deeper and more deeply still into their own knowing. The tracks we all are following are those of the wild and innate instinctual self. I call her wild woman, for those very words, wild and woman, create lama, o tocar a la puerta, the fairy tale knock at the door of the deep female psyche. Lama o tocar a la puerta means literally to play upon the instrument of the name in order to open a door. It means using words that summon up the opening of a passageway. No matter by which culture a woman is influenced, she understands the words wild and woman. And if you agree, let me know. I certainly do. Intuitively, when women hear those words, an old memory is stirred and brought back to life. The memory is of our absolute, undeniable and irrevocable kinship with the wild feminine, a relationship which may have become ghostly from a neglect, buried by over-domestication, outlawed by the surrounding culture, or no longer understood anymore. We may have forgotten her name. We may not answer when she calls us. But in our bones we know her. We yearn toward her. We know she belongs to us, and we to her. It is into this fundamental, elemental and essential relationship that we were born, and that in our essence we are also derived from. The wild woman archetype sheaths the alpha matrilineal being. There are times when we experience her, even if only fleetingly, and it makes us mad with wanting to continue. For some women, this vitalizing taste of the wild comes during pregnancy, during nursing their young, during the miracle of change in oneself, as one raises a child, during attending to a loving relationship, as one would attend to a beloved garden. A sense of her also comes through the vision, through sights of great beauty. I have felt her when I see what we call in the woodlands a Jesus God sunset. I have felt her move in me from seeing the fishermen come from the lake at dusk with lanterns lit, and also from seeing my newborn baby's toes all lined up like rows of sweet corn. We see her where we see her, which is everywhere. She comes to us through a sound as well, through music which vibrates the sternum, excites the heart. It comes through the drum, the whistle, the call and the cry. It comes through the written and the spoken word, sometimes a word, a sentence or a poem or a story. Is so resonant, so right, it causes us to remember, at least for an instant, what substance are we really made from, and where is our true home? These transient tastes of the wild come during the mystique of inspiration. Ah, there it is. Oh, and now it's gone. The longing for her comes when one happens across someone who has secured this wildish relationship. The longing comes when one realizes one has given scant time to the mystic cook fire, or to the dream time, too little time to one's own creative life, one's life's work, or one's true loves. Yet it is these fleeting tastes which come both through beauty as well as loss that cause us to become so bereft, so agitated, so longing, that we eventually must pursue the wildish nature. Then we leap into the forest or into the desert or into the snow and run hard, our eyes scanning the ground, our hearing sharply turned, searching under, searching over, searching for a clue, a remnant, a sign that she still lives, that we have not lost our chance, and when we pick her up her trail, it is typical of woman to ride hard to catch up, clear off the desk, clear off the relationship, clear out one's mind, turn to a new page, insist on a break, break the rules, stop the world, for we are not going on without her any longer. Once women have lost her and then found her again, they will contend to keep her for good. Once they have regained her, they will fight and fight hard to keep her. For with her, their creative lives blossom, their relationships gain meaning and depth and health. Their cycles of sexuality, creativity, work and play are re-established. They are no longer marks for the predations of others. They are entitled equally under the law of nature to grow and to thrive. Now their end of the day fatigue comes from satisfying work and endeavours, and not from being shut into too small a mindset, job or relationship. Hi Christine, hi Abjeet, hi Nicola and hi Susan. They know instinctively when things must die and when things must live. They know how to walk away, they know how to stay. When women reassert their relationship with the wildish nature, they are gifted with a permanent and internal watcher, a knower, a visionary, an oracle, an inspiratrix, an intuitive, a maker, a creator, an inventor, and a listener who guides, suggests and urge vibrant life in the inner and outer worlds. When women are close to this nature, the fact of the relationship glows through them. The fact of that relationship glows through them. This wild teacher, wild mother, wild mentor, supporter their inner and outer lives, supports their inner and outer lives no matter what. So the word wild here is not used in its modern pejorative sense, meaning out of control, but its original sense, which means live a natural life, one in which a creatura, creature, has innate integrity and healthy boundaries. These words, wild and women, cause women to remember who they are and what they are about. They create the metaphor to describe the force which funds all females. They personify a force that women cannot live without. The wild woman archetype can be expressed in other terms which are equally apt. You can call this powerful psychological nature the instinctive nature. But wild woman is the force which lies behind that. You can call it the natural psyche. The archetype of the wild woman stands behind that as well. You can call it the innate, the basic nature of woman. You can call it the indigenous, the intrinsic nature of woman. In poetry it might be called the other, or the seven oceans of the universe, or the far woods, or the friend. In various psychologies and from various perspectives, it could be called the id, the self, the medial nature. In biology, it would be called the typical or fundamental nature. But because it is tacit, prescient, and visceral, among cantadoras, it is called the wise or knowing nature. It is sometimes called the woman who lives at the end of time, or the woman who lives at the edge of the world. And this creatura is always a creature, a creator hag, or a deathless goddess, or a maiden in descent, or any number of other personifications. She is both friend and mother to all those who have lost their way, all those who need learning, all those who have a riddle to solve, all those out in the forest or in the desert wandering and searching. In actuality, in the psychoid unconscious, an ineffable layer of psyche from which this phenomenon emanates, the wild woman has no name, she is so vast. But since the force engenders every important facet of womanliness, here on earth she is named many names, not only in order to peer into the myriad aspects of her nature, but also to hold on to her, because in the beginning of retrieving our relationship with her, she can turn into smoke in an instant. By naming her, we create for her a territory of thought and feeling within us. Then she will come, and if valued, she will stay. In Spanish, she is Rio Abajo Rio, the river beneath the river. La Mucha Grande, the great woman. Luz del Abismo, the light from the abyss. La Loba, the wolf woman. La Huesera, the bone woman. She is called in Hungarian. My Hungarian's not that great. Hedoben, she of the woods, and Rosamac, the wolverine. In Navajo, she is Na Ashi Azdaza, the spider woman who weaves the fate of humans and animals and plants and rocks. In Guatemala, among other many names, she is Homana del Nibela, the mist being, the woman who has lived forever. In Japanese, she is Amatsuro Omikami, the Numina, who brings all light, all consciousness. In Tibet, she is the Daikini, the dancing force which produces clear seeing within women. And so it goes on, she goes on. The comprehension of this wild woman nature is not a religion but a practice. It is a psychology in its truest sense. Soul. A knowing of the soul. Without her, women are without ears to hear her soul talk, or to register the chiming of their own inner rhythms. Without her, women's inner eyes are closed by some shadowy hand, and large parts of their days are spent in semi-paralyzing ennui, or else wishful thinking. Without her, women lose the sureness of their soul footing. Without her, they forget why they're here. They hold on when they would best hold out. Without her, they take too much or too little or nothing at all. Without her, they are silent when they are in fact on fire. She is their regulator. She is their soulful heart, the same as the human heart that regulates the physical body. When we lose touch with the instinctive psyche, we live in a semi-destroyed state, and images and powers that are natural to the feminine are not allowed to fully develop. When a woman is cut away from her basic source, she is sanitized, and her instincts and natural life cycles are lost. Subsumed by the culture or by the intellect or the ego, one's own or those belonging to others. Wild woman is the health of all women. Without her, women's psychology makes no sense. This wilder woman is the prototypical woman. No matter what culture, no matter what era, no matter what politics, she does not change. Her cycle changes, her symbolic representations change, but in essence, she does not change. She is what she is, and she is whole. Yes, Christine, it is from that book. She canalizes through women. If they are suppressed, she struggles upward. If women are free, she is free. Unfortunately, no matter how many times she is pushed down, she bounds up again. No matter how many times she is forbidden, quelled, cut back, diluted, tortured, taught as unsafe, dangerous, mad, or other derogations, she emanates upward in women, so that even the most quiet, even the most restrained woman keeps a secret place for her. Even the most repressed woman has a secret life, with secret thoughts and secret feelings, which are lush and wild. That is natural. Even the most captured woman guards the place of the wildish self, for she knows intuitively that some day there will be a loophole, an aperture, a chance, and she will hightail it to escape. I believe that all women and men are born gifted, however, and truly there has been little to describe the psychological lives and ways of gifted women, talented women, creative women. There is on one hand much right about the weakness and foibles of humans in general and women in particular, but in this case of the wild woman archetype, in order to fathom her, apprehend her, utilize her offerings, we must be more interested in the thoughts, feelings and endeavours which strengthen women, and adequately count the interior and cultural factors which weaken women. In general, when we understand the wildish nature as a being in its own right, which one animates and informs a woman's deepest life, then we can begin to develop in ways never thought possible. A psychology which fails to address this innate spiritual being at the centre of feminine psychology fails women, fails their daughters' daughters, far into all future matrilineal lines. So in order to apply a good medicine to the hurt parts of the wildish psyche, in order to a right relationship to the archetype of the wild woman, one has to name the disarrays of the psyche accurately. The title of this book, Women Who Run with Wolves, came from my study of the wildlife biology, wolves in particular. The studies of wolves, Canis lupus and Canis rufus, are like the history of women regarding both their spiritedness and their travail. Healthy wolves and healthy women share certain psychic characteristics, keen sensing, playful spirit, and heightened capacity for devotion. Wolves and women are relational by nature, inquiring, possessed of great endurance and strength. They are deeply intuitive, intensely concerned with their young, their mates, and their pack. They are experienced in adapting to constantly changing circumstances. They are fiercely stalwart and very brave. Yet both have been hounded, harassed, and falsely imputed to be devouring and devious, overly aggressive, of less value than those who are their detractors. They have been the targets of those who would clean up the wilds as well as the wildish environments of the psyche, extincting the instinctual and leaving no trace of it behind. The predation of wolves and women by those who misunderstand them is strikingly similar. So that is where the concept of the wild woman archetype first crystallized for me, in the study of wolves. I've studied other creatures as well, as bear, elephant, and soul birds, butterflies. The characteristics of each species gives abundant metaphoric hints into what is knowable about the feminine, instinctual psyche. The wild nature passed through my spirit twice, once by my birth to a passionate Mexican-Spanish bloodline, and later through adoption by a family of fiery Hungarians. I was raised up by the Michigan state line, surrounded by woodlands, orchards, and farmland near the Great Lakes. There, thunder and lightning were my main nutrition. Cornfields creaked and spoke aloud at night. Far up in the north, wolves came to the clearings in moonlight, prancing and praying. We could all drink from the same streams without fear. I may read some more of that another time. Thank you for listening. So I've just been reading an extract from a beautiful book that I've had on my shelf for a few years. I just decided to pick up again this afternoon because I still haven't read it. So now, let's just get comfortable and warm and cozy and relax for a few moments. If you're just tuning in, I've just been reading a book for women, and we're just going to do a little meditation now, take some quiet space and tune in to what is available to us right here, right now. And just taking some deep breaths. Just breathe into your stomach. Breathing in and out through the nose. And as you breathe into the tummy, push the belly out. As you breathe out, bring the belly in. Feel your heart beating in your chest. Bring your attention to your heartbeat. Feel the pulsation of your heartbeat through your body. Like a drum beating in the heart of a forest, calling you, calling you here. Feeling the heartbeat stronger now. Like a drum beating, vibration moving throughout the body, calling you home. Imagining now every heartbeat is beating like the drum in the forest, together as one. Feeling the gentle rise and fall of the breath, the inflow and the outflow, like the rivers across the earth, connecting to the oceans. Your breath connects you to the ocean of consciousness, to that which expands beyond this form, beyond all names, beyond all identity. Your heart is calling you home. Every heartbeat is calling you home. Breathe. Feel yourself grounded, rooted, open and receptive. Aware, awake. Relaxed. Everything softening. Your face, arms, your legs, your jaw, your back, your neck, your feet, your toes, and your fingers, your eyes softening, relaxing. Breathing is happening easily, gently. Breath is like the ocean tide, lapping the seashore, waves moving out and moving in. As you breathe, the earth breathes with you. As your heart beats, the earth's heart beats with you. Feel your nature. Sense it now. Your wild nature, unrestricted, unlimited, profound, peaceful, easy, happening, relaxed. And breathe. Taking a deep breath in now. Begin to feel your body, bringing your awareness to the body. Becoming aware of the entire body, your feet, your arms, your hands, your legs, your buttocks, your back, your chest, your heartbeat, your breath, your head, your neck, your face. This body is your temple. and everything that you consume becomes a part of this body. Breathing deeper now, feeling your body with each breath, energizing the cells, waking up the body, connected, relaxed. Aware of your nature. Namaste to you all. Much love and many blessings. And if you just tuned in, there's a reading at the beginning of this. And I'd also like to mention that I'm going to be running some more Wild Women Awakening groups, Sacred Sisters groups, and if anybody's interested in coming and doing the groups and the training with me, then please get in touch. We had an amazing day on Saturday with a group of beautiful ladies. The exercises get you to go into your nature very deeply, and I share some meditations, and we do some exercises and activities and different things, and it's very, very empowering and very fulfilling, and you can literally feel your power and your energy when the day finishes. So I'd love to see more of the women that I'm connected to at my groups, and to create this beautiful community of awakening wild women and all my sacred sisters, so that we can be strong, be in our power, be connected, and know our nature. And in that, we also strengthen the men around us, and we hold space for their wild nature and their connection. So it's mutually benefiting, all of this stuff, all of us, the entire planet. It's healing the divine masculine, feminine in the physical form, bringing the divine in. And as the flame in each one of us burns more brightly, so we light the flames in those around us, and we help their flames to burn more brightly too. We help them to remember who they are. So thank you. Much love.